with you, Honorable, Ambrose Weda, the police appearing to be the most corrupt. However, there's always the question of they don't bribe themselves. They have people who are colluding. There are people who are willing to part with, a few shillings to ensure that they go free because maybe they're on the wrong side of the law. But we can also look at it from the angle of the systems that we have. For instance, I'll give you an example. I have a friend who was arrested not too long ago for a minor traffic offense.
Yes.
Long story short, he was in a cell the whole day.
Yes.
Was released, I think, at 6 p.m.
Yes.
and had to get somebody to go pay for his fine. The system just makes it easier for you to part with 1,000 shillings than to go the full hog. Your thoughts?
I think as long as we deny and pretend about corruption, then we get reports like this, which to me are erroneous. The first person who's corrupt is myself. I tell you, if I'm running to the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya at 9 o'clock and I was over speeding and a policeman stops me and says, "Weda, we are taking you to court." If he's willing to take 500, it's just prudence that you look at the order of priorities and then you say, take it. The first people who are corrupt are the people of Kenya who give them. But they are looking at corruption in terms of the spread. Corruption should be looked at in terms of the intensity. When I go into a place and I take 500 million, you find that a third of our economy, $1 trillion, goes to corruption. And that is from the national treasury, this and this. So the intensity we seem to ignore so that we go to the minor, small things. What hurts this economy that they should be looking at is the corruption that steals in order of intensity. So the police may be widespread because people don't want to go to the cell, people don't want to waste time, people don't want, and it's nearly all of us, including Wachungaji, including Waheshimiwa. So even the EACC officials themselves, if you arrest them, the police want to arrest them, they will tell them, my brother, it will spoil my name, the cost. So the survey is good in painting the police bad, but in terms of dealing with the core issue of corruption, I think they missed it.
All right, Kempi Gitura, your thoughts on the survey and the fact that apparently the police again come as the top most corrupt agency?
Maybe I'll look at it from the point of view that two wrongs don't make a right. You see, the police being the most corrupt is ranking. Even the one who is lowest on the rank is still corruption, isn't it? Now, it's an interesting argument by Wakili Weda that it's prudent. He used the word prudent. That is prudent if he's going to the Supreme Court and is stopped. It's prudent to pay 500 shillings so that he can make it to the Supreme Court. I mean, then when he uses words like those, when is corruption going to end? You see, corruption is corruption. There is big corruption and then there is that small corruption because the policeman is given 50 bob, 200 bob, right? But the big fish are getting, like he said, 1 billion shillings, yeah? And that kind of money. And maybe that is even worse corruption. But there is no corruption that you can glorify and say this is good. So for me, saying the police are number one, and they have always been anyway, I mean, it's not like it's anything new. Since they started doing the rankings, they have always become number one. Number one. So for me, that's not a big issue. The biggest issue is that there is corruption, that it is eating 1/3 of our GDP, and that something needs to be done about it. There is no point of EACC telling us the police are the most corrupt, and they are not telling us what systems they are using.
Who are these?
And when are they going to deal with it? Because they should be telling us that we've taken so-and-so to court and it's been jailed. Let me tell you one of the biggest problems in this country, and what I hear Wanjiku saying when I listen to her, is that so now you're talking about corruption, but who has been jailed? Tell us who do you know has been jailed because of corruption in this country? The only one I know myself is Gaku, the former town clerk. He's in jail. He's trying his appeal. Wanjiku wants to see blood in matters of corruption. Wanjiku wants to see that so-and-so has been arrested.